Hello Paisanos, welcome to another episode of PS2 Mini Games. Very popcorn episode indeed. I got asked this question by Dave a couple of days ago. And to be honest, I've never really given much thought to it. But I thought, you know what, if I'm going to go through it, I might as well go through it with everyone who watches the channel. And that is favourite games for certain consoles. Why do I say certain consoles? Because I can't really give you a favourite game for a console I've never played. Now, I have owned and still kept a lot of consoles from my childhood up to current day. And there's a few consoles to go through, at least about 5 or 6 minimum. I might go further, but this is just for a bit of funsies. There will be one console that we might talk about PS2 favourite games, but I won't give favourite definitive game for that console. Because A, there's so many games for the PS2 I love, and there's no game that really definitively jumps out as best ever game for PS2 for me. Plus, there's such a large library, as you've seen for the channel for the last 2.5 years, and a lot of people confused best with favourite. So these aren't the best games for these consoles, these are my personal favourite games. And you might be some games you think, yeah, that's about right. And there may be certain games where you go, really, you love that game too much. It's just my choices. So, A, if people want to share personal favourite games for certain consoles in the comments, please feel free. This is a very comment-heavy episode, if you will. I'm always curious at people's opinions on certain games and their favourites, because everyone's different. Everyone loves different games. A couple of things before we go forward. Obviously, in the background, you see some N64 box games. I'm currently in the middle of deciding what I'm going to do, because I did mention I might combine the room into 2 sections. If I decide to basically make this room both N64 and the PS2, the N64 is going to get basically a corner, and the rest of it's from PS2. That will require me basically reorganising the whole room. The back wall is going to stay the same. Those 2 units are perfect. They sit perfectly well. The shelves are fantastic. Behind me will change. We will get, I think they do 8 foot. I don't know if they do 8 foot IKEA shelving and Billy bookshelves, but I think you can get 8 foot. Because it's still every shelving unit, and I'm just going to lean up here. Every shelving unit, right? That's a good 2 foot of space that I do not use. I have room for big items. I can make room for big items, but I would say 2 foot of space would equal 2 more shelves. And I think if I incorporate more space with room, I can probably get most of the PS2 stuff into those extra space, and I could probably get a unit just purely for N64 stuff. If not, we'll just use the other games room. That's just an idea I'm going through my head right now. I have been consulting the YouTube book for dummies for that. Amazing Christmas present my brother got me for Christmas, and obviously Sarah. Hello, Sarah. My brother's significant other. Such a ridiculous book. And ironically, it's just massive. 380 pages strong of YouTube ideas. It's my God, never going to read the whole thing, but interesting look. So, at the moment, that's what we're going with. Some people might notice I haven't spent that much money this month. That's because I'm saving money for the bundle I'm about to acquire, which is going to cost me a bit. Simple as that. But anyway, let's get back to today's subject. We're going to go through consoles probably older to newer. You'll see kind of my childhood in rotation. A lot of my other consoles are currently in storage because I haven't got space for them at the moment while I'm sorting out the other games room. So nearly every console I will mention I have owned and I have games for. So we'll just go through them one by one and just give opinions on games I love and games I would love to try. Plus, if I sound a bit bunged, I do have some kind of cold, but it's not going to stop me making episodes. If it was the flu, it'll stop me, but cold, no. We keep balling here at PS2 Mini Games, and that was such a terrible phrase of balling. But fuck it, we're going to keep going. Oh, one more thing. The last episode, which was the boxed N64 roulette stuff, first time doing boxed N64 roulette, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I don't know if it's because the first one was just an abject failure. But I enjoyed that episode. I enjoy all the episodes I make, but that one really, I don't know why I was in such a good mood as went with it. Of note, by the way, the failure, which was the WWF Warzone, I'm actually keeping that. And let me explain. We obviously own the cart from my childhood of Warzone, so I have the cart. So it only costs £10, I think £12 for that. Honestly, for that the box wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't terrible either, and I managed to flatten up the front. So the box actually is in immaculate condition, has the manual, has the insert. The only thing that was wrong was the actual game itself. It was the wrong game. There's an Attitude, which was the game after Warzone. So I was like, screw it, we're going to keep it. I've put the Warzone cart I have in that box, and we now have a box to Warzone. Honestly, I would happily sacrifice about £6 of money for a box like that. So we're keeping it. And now I've got 2 Attitude carts. So it's a minor sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make when I get a box that reads me in that good condition. So technically, I'll call it a 1.5 success on roulettes. But that X-Men 3 disc was horrific. It didn't play, by the way. People say, give it a try. No, it didn't play. It was awful. So that's gone back. That's gone. Anyway, let's actually get to the topic of today. One more thing of note before I forget. I'm still getting used to the Yeti microphone. In the last episode, half the episode you can hear it perfectly on the left side of the headphones and half on the right. I didn't realise till afterwards that's because I moved the microphone. In the first half, the microphone was to my left, and the second half it was to my right. That's why the sound was off. And I realised that, and I apologise for that. I'm still getting used to having a big-ass microphone in front of me. It is actually below me right now. Yeti. And the Yeti! Let's get started. So, I've played all consoles, but I'm talking about console I owned as a child. Mainly, because that's also my childhood. That's why I enjoy them. NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, we'll start with that. We'll do top 3. We'll do like top 3 favourite games for each console, because every console I owned, I had more than one game for, obviously. Might sound stupid. But that's the way we're going to do this. I will say one thing. When I was a boy, I didn't like Legend of Zelda. I actually owned the game, and I found the game... How can I put this? It wasn't for me. I mean, it wasn't my cup of tea back in the day. It now plays well for what it is. But anyway, game number 3, Mega Man 3. I will say point blank, Mega Man 2 is a better game objectively, but I didn't own it as a child. I owned Mega Man 3. And for what it was a very good game. Long game, challenging game, but I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I still do to this day, but I play it on obviously anniversary collections and Steam collections. Just a better game to be played on PC once you got the controller sorted out. But Mega Man 3, genuinely enjoy that game to this day. My second favourite game, objectively, people might think is it's a 2-player game. The jingle gets stuck in your head, and that's Bobble Bobble. I will play the jingle if I don't get copyrighted in the background. That is a co-op game, fun. It's repetitive. The song gets stuck in your head, and you will be humming it for the rest of your day. For those who listen to it and it's actually in the video, I apologise. But I don't. So anyone who never played Bubble Bubble, it's objectively supposed to be played with 2 people. Genuinely fun game, but my favourite game, and it was probably the best game on the NES, Super Mario Bros. 3. Honestly, Super Mario Bros. 3, to this day, is still regarded as one of the top 2 best 2D Super Mario games ever made. The SNES version is better, but the original version still plays tremendously well. A lot of nostalgia for that game, and I think it's still like in the top 5 best-selling Super Mario Bros. Games ever released. Now, the original Super Mario Bros. I loved, but it's one of those games that's love and hate. I actually played a lot more of the Lost Levels on the Super Nintendo because it was harder and I like a good challenge, and I have beaten that game. But the original one on the NES, Lost Levels, was insane. I think to get to World A through D, you had to beat the game something like 6 or 7 times. Something ridiculous. I love the Japanese propensity for hard games that just get harder. Weird. But I would suggest all those 3 games to anyone who wants to try NES games that are universally reasonably loved. Jump to the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis to anyone outside Europe. Quite a few games I had when I was a child in this. The original Golden Axe I'll go for my 3rd favourite game. To this day, that it's a very basic game, but it's still quite enjoyable on and off, and I would recommend that to anyone. Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. The Sonic 3 and Knuckles combined game, which you had to get both games with the actual attachment on top, that is by far the best 2D Sonic game before Good lord, I'm drawing a blank. Sonic Mania came out about 5 or 6 years ago. That's phenomenal. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles is fantastic. Word of warning for those who have epilepsy, the hypersonic can cause flash-sensitive epilepsy. It is blinding at moments, so if anyone who has any kind of epilepsy, just note of caution before you play the game. But my favourite Mega Drive game, I think just for the soundtrack alone, is the original Streets of Rage. I think Streets of Rage 2 mechanically is a better game, but I think the soundtrack on Streets of Rage 1 is so phenomenally good that I can go back there and listen to it. I mean, all the tunes, especially the boss theme, the bass drops and the shit gets real. Honestly, my favourite one. Plus, you had police backup in that game. You didn't get that in Streets of Rage 2 or 3. Note of caution, by the way, in Streets of Rage 3, I think it's a phenomenally expensive game for anyone who wants to get that cart, and I don't think it's that good of a game either, so... Obviously, there are phenomenal games on the Mega Drive. The best versions of Mortal Kombat on Mega Drive, I argue that to this day. 1, 2, and 3. I can't speak for Ultimate, because I think the best one of that is probably on the PlayStation. Other game franchises that did well on the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive Aladdin game is quite good. I had that, not the Super Nintendo game, which I think was better. But the Aladdin game on the Genesis, very good game. Anyway, let's move on to Super Nintendo. I think I mentioned a couple of times, growing up by far, and to this day, the Super Nintendo is one of my favourite consoles. I mean, it's definitely top 3. If I could afford to collect for that, I would have gone that over N64. It's like my second favourite console behind PlayStation 2, and then there's the N64. That's how it works. Super Nintendo, I got quite a few games for. Favourite games can get really subjective with the Super Nintendo. I'm not going to put Mario All-Stars on there, even though it's 4 games in one. I want to, but it's a compilation. But I'm just going to mention that as an honorable mention. Donkey Kong Country 2 is my third favourite game. By far the best of the 3 Donkey Kong countries. You play as Diddy and Dixie Kong. It's the second one, so it's phenomenally better than the first one. Mainly because you're not controlling Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong did not control very well. The third one is also very good in itself, but they bring in Kiddy Kong, who's basically just a Donkey Kong clone. And it's a very good game, but not as good as Diddy and Dixie together. And I think the soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country 2 is also quite phenomenal. Second favourite game. I know it's very generic to say this. Well, actually, no, I tell a lie. It's not a game that hopefully more people play before they... It's Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. It's Yoshi's first game as the standalone main protagonist. Mario's a baby. It is near the end of the Super Nintendo's life, and it is a phenomenal game. The artwork is phenomenally good. So much so that there's one level that actually crashes Super Nintendo because there's too many sprites on screen. But the artwork is phenomenal. The controlling is phenomenal. Speedrunning. You ever seen speedrun of this game? It's phenomenal. And it has 6 worlds, 8 worlds per world, not including the bonus levels. It has a collection system where you had to get 100 points each level. That's just for funsies, but the replayability of this is phenomenal. And I would recommend anyone who's never played Super Mario World Yoshi's Island, it's actually the sequel to Super Mario World, unbelievably. It is Super Mario World 2. Play it, because it's by far the best Mario game I owned as a child. I don't think it's the best one on the console. We'll get to that as that's subjective. But the best one I owned when I was a child, and it's my favourite Super Nintendo game, my favourite. And probably phenomenally less is good. How can I put this? My favourite game isn't half as good as Yoshi's Island, but it's my personal favourite, and that's Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a fun mixture of hard gameplay, but worthwhile gameplay. I feel like it rewards me for playing well, and it is phenomenally easier than the NES version. That's just ridiculous. I think the soundtrack's awesome. It was, I don't know if it was a launch title, but I know it was early Super Nintendo, and I believe once you know how to play it, it is rewarding when you beat the game. It took me many years to beat the game, but I did, and I did a playthrough on the channel early on because it's my favourite Super Nintendo game. I don't know why I did it. I just did it. I recorded it, and phenomenally, every playthrough of any game I've tried on this channel has failings because of recording and saving of videos. Once I actually master it, I will do more gameplay recordings. I genuinely will. That's my favourite. Yoshi's Island is the best game out of those 3. But I think I've never played it on the Super Nintendo. I played this on the Wii as a when you download games for the Wii. When I played Super Mario RPG, that game was phenomenal. And they got obviously a remake on the Switch to this day. But because I didn't have it as a child, I can't put that on my favourites list. But I would recommend that game too. Anyway, there are other phenomenal games on Super Nintendo. That's one of the best consoles ever made. Moving on to the PlayStation. The original PlayStation obviously sold phenomenally well. Has amazing games. First, obviously, CD-based console I ever owned. And a lot of people say, what do you think of the original PlayStation compared to PS2? Fantastic, obviously. One of the easiest consoles to find because it sold so many. I mean, buying a PS1, there's no real point of buying a PS1 anymore because a PS2 plays PS1 games. And besides that, there's no real point. I know it's like nostalgia, but the PS2 does everything better. That's why you can just buy a PS2 and play PS1 games on there. Anyway, let's get to the actual games themselves. I did love Crash games, but I never found any of them my favourites, but I owned all of them. This might sound really stupid, but Demolition Derby 2, or Destruction Derby, I forgot what it's called, I'll Google it. It's basically a smashing game with cars and, racing. Got immense gameplay out of it. That's my third favourite PS1 game. I know, sacrilege! There's so much better games, but it's my favourite games. And the amount of times I played that game, it deserves mentioning. It really does deserve mentioning. The next game is an RPG, but technically not an RPG. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I owned it as a child, but the disc doesn't work anymore. And I've tried getting it repaired, it doesn't work anymore, which is really sad, really, because that game is worth a lot now. But Symphony of the Night is the best Metroidvania, one of the best Castlevania games ever made, and has tremendous replay value. You can do different kind of runs on it. Honestly, if you haven't played that, you're not a true Castlevania fan for me. I know that's such a hard thing to say, and I love Super Castlevania 4, and I love that game. And that wasn't even in my top 3 favourite games, if you understand what I mean. But my favourite game, and it has to be because I tried speedrunning it, and I basically played modded versions online, but the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, by far the hardest Yu-Gi-Oh! Game ever released. And it was released before the card game really became a thing, on television and in real life. So the rules, no one understood the fucking rules. But anyone who's played the original Forbidden Memories, it's a phenomenally hard game. A game purely designed for hours upon hours of grinding to win, and a lot of luck. So obviously it's a card game that has fusions. The system is phenomenal for fusions, but unless you had some kind of internet back in the day, you didn't know what fusions were made. It was a lot of trial and error. What we know now about the game, we wish we knew it back then, because it would have made the game so much more easier. But the point is, after every door you only won one card, and it's random. So some of the best drops, you can play 100 doors and you never get some. And sometimes you play 2 doors and you'll get it. It's just luck. Utter luck. RNG, if you will. I know there are speed ones where you can actually manipulate the AI to give you the best cards, but I wasn't like that when I couldn't do that when I was a child. Anyway, Twin Head Thunder Dragon was obviously the go-to fusion, a very easy fusion between Dragons and Thunders. But you had to get equipped cards to beat the game because they had the strongest cards in the game. Obviously, didn't know the best way of doing that was what we call S-teching Pegasus, which basically is beating Pegasus in a technical way. Now, in the old days, the simplest way of doing this was, and the most boring way, was decking out Pegasus, which took ages. And remember, you only got one drop, and it's about 3 or 4 equipped cards that Pegasus has that you would like. Best one being Megamorph, but this could take hours to get one of those cards. It's so much easier these days because modded versions of the game is now 15 card. So the standard version of it now is 15 card, where you win 15 cards per win. It makes the game so much faster because it gets the same gameplay values. Also, there's a faster way to S-Tech Pegasus. It's very precise. I'm not going to explain it in this video, but Google that. But now you can beat the game if you know what you're doing in 2 hours. Back in the day, days. I'm not joking. You could grind for days and still not get what you need. But the want of beating this game drove me to keep playing it. And honestly, I only beat it 5 years ago for the first time, the original version. And I played that on and off for years and years and years and years, and I've wasted a lot of hours in that game. So it has to be my favourite, because you won't play the same game constantly unless it was your favourite. So you go for Forbidden Memories only for the strong-willed, but I would say modern day, play it modded online. Don't play the original, because the original, it's just not worth the effort. But the modern version these days is so much worth the effort. And there's more mods these days which expands the card library and makes it a more fun game. Sorry about that. Once again, my phone got full of memory. Recording in 4K is a pisser. I might go back to HD. But in case I miss off the end in there, phenomenal game. You go for a bit of memories. Only play the modern version. The modern version is better, it's faster, it's more fun. I can't recommend that anymore. The Nintendo 64, considering I've started collecting for it, this is going to be quite an interesting free game for me. There's a lot of party games in the Nintendo 64, so I could include Mario Parties, I could include Mario Kart. Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, there's so many games I could recommend. But once again, this is my personal three favourite games on the console. So, I really would like to put Paper Mario on there, because I played Paper Mario on different consoles, but I didn't have it as a child, so I can't put it on there. But I would recommend that game. I mean, I mention the wrestling games all the time. I would recommend No Mercy in the top 3. WWF No Mercy is the best N64 game for me personally. Some people say Revenges, WCW and NWO Revenge. It's subjective. They're just as good as each other, but for like replayability, I'll go back to No Mercy quite easily and get kicks out of it. Plus, because of the glitch in the cart where it would delete your game files, I've never actually fully completed the story mode, like 100%ed it. I've always wanted to do that, but that takes literally hours. I will do that one day, when I get actually a cart that doesn't delete your save games. But I would highly recommend that. It depends how you grade. It really depends how you grade on this one. It's really hard for me to like give definitive answers. I mean, I'm going to throw... Good lord. We're going to throw Mario Party 3 in there. I got a lot of kicks from my friends out of Mario Party 3. Also, it's the hardest sorted after Mario Party game of all on N64. That's going to cost you £100. I'm not even joking. I think Box is going to cost a lot more than that. Highly recommended someone look for that game. Obviously, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time has to be number 1. It's not my favourite Legend of Zelda. Well, it kind of is. It kind of is. See, this is how... Because I didn't own Link of the Past when I was a child, right? And I've played it since, and it's my favourite one. But I owned Ocarina of Time as a child. So I could put that on this list. What I'm saying is Ocarina of Time was by far the best game on the N64. As it aged well, that is subjective. That's for you to decide on that one. I still think Link of the Past is better, but because I didn't own it as a child, I can't really put it in this list as childhood memories. But I would recommend both games. But there's so many phenomenal games. I mean, Star Fox 64 is fantastic. Obviously, all the Mario games, including Mario Tennis, are phenomenal on N64. Paper Mario is phenomenal. It might sound stupid. I've got so much gameplay out of Nagano Winter Olympics 1998. I've got so much gameplay out of that. It's unreal. I mean, I could add that to the list, but I think a lot of people will look at that and go, that's a bit niche, Adam. NHL 99 as a child, I loved that game. NBA 99, I love that game. It's hard to put... So I'm going to pick those 3 games just as ones that came on the top of my head. So, obviously, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Party 3... I literally forgot the other one. I can't believe it. Screw it. It's going to be in the video. Let's just move on before I have a mental breakdown. Dreamcast is phenomenally easy. In this order. Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast. It was a game. It was a weird game, but it was an enjoyable game. Crazy Taxi. Just a weird-ass game in general, but obviously enjoyable. And Sonic Adventure, the original Sonic Adventure. It has not aged well, but still pretty good. See, the problem is, I never owned Sonic Adventure 2 on Dreamcast. I owned the battle version on GameCube. So, if I owned the one on Dreamcast, I'd probably put that one first. But Sonic Adventure. So, them 3 games on Dreamcast. I didn't play much Dreamcast, but they're the 3 games I played the most. Moving on. We're going to skip the PS2 for now. We're going to go straight to GameCube. As people have found out in the last 10 years, GameCube was phenomenally underrated. I was very lucky. I bought certain games for the GameCube, about 10 or plus, and my choices were amazing. Just going to say it right now. Super Mario Sunshine is not one of my favourite Mario games. I think it's probably I'm just going to say it's one of the worst 3D Mario games. I mean, it's good as it is, but compared to its 3D Mario brethren, it's just not in the same league. And I'm disgusted that fully completing the game only gets you a fucking postcard. For real. Especially all those blue coins and all that stuff. No, it's not worth it. I wouldn't recommend that game to anyone. Luigi's Mansion's a better game. It's just a generally short game, but these are the 3 games I would go back to that I owned when I was a child. But which order do I put them in? That's the choice we have to make here. Which order do I put them in? Obviously, Smash Melee has to be in the top 3 for me. I'll put that third. Best Smash game until maybe the Switch version of Wii U. I haven't played those, so I can't really give an opinion on that. Better than Brawl by far, but obviously they just nailed it with that game. Massive increase in characters you can fight as, just holds up to this day. And I think they still use it in worldwide tournaments sometimes, so phenomenal game. Next one would be Pokémon XD, which is a sequel to Pokémon Colosseum, another phenomenal game. This is a hard game to find these days. I got it as a child. I think I'll put the price at from CEX, but you're talking hundreds for Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Very good game, just as good as Colosseum. I think better because they upgraded some of the mechanics and made it easier to purify Shadow Pokemon. They also went hard, I think, on a more Cantonian Pokemon, because the first game had a lot of Jotonian Pokemon. Has phenomenal replay value for me. I don't mind double battles. Once you get used to double battles, it's actually not a bad mechanic for me personally. But Mirror Beast's theme song in that game is phenomenal too. Best character in Pokemon, just saying. But the best game for me on GameCube, and my not only the favourite game, but the best game for me, is Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. The best Mario RPG made. Let that sink in. Some people are going to be like, phenomenal game. Still fun to this day. You can have different strategies in that game. Simple RPG. Luigi's Adventures in the Waffle Kingdom are amazing. If you played it, you know. The Pit also gives me quite a good challenge. From the original game, you can get up to 100 badge points. So you can have like all the fucking badges. Danger Mario strats are phenomenally good on Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. You can deal like 25 damage plus, which might not sound much to any RPG people out there, but considering when you start the game you deal like 1 damage, you're killing fucking everything. Mario becomes a monster. A high risk, high reward stratagem that always makes me happy. But I think the majority of the chapters in that game are actually quite enjoyable. And some of the conversations still have to this day, like the crows in Chapter 4 talking about Wi-Fi speeds. This is like 2005 or 6, talking like high-end Wi-Fi speeds. Oh, good lord. And you can make Mario true arsehole in that game. Like when in Chapter 2, where a puny, which is a little creature, wants assistance. Like, will you help me? And you can have Mario just look at this little puny guy and goes, "Guess again, nerd!" And then it's like start bullying this little bastard. You can make it Mario true arsehole in that game. But I love it. My favourite GameCube game by far. I think it's the best GameCube game by far. Fight me on that one. And I highly recommend everyone try it. Right, let's get the PS2. Honestly, it's hard to pick favourites because I love so many games. But I will go through games I love and can go back to quite easily. One I mentioned the most, obviously, is Need for Speed Most Wanted. I love that game. I could play that like every so often, like maybe once a year I'll crack that out, like try different cars. I've literally driven every car. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes hard. I played the Most Wanted version, the extended version. Just as good, just as phenomenal. I sometimes play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists of the Roses to the point where I could beat it in 2 hours. and I can put it back on the shelf the next day. A lot of the Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors games I love, and I'll get replayability. I mean, I've talked about one of the newest franchises I love is Atelier Iris. The first one I love, the second one is alright, the third one I also enjoy the hell out of. Recommend those RPGs. There's so many games I could recommend and I truly enjoy. Once again, obviously the GTAs, some of them have aged well, some of them have aged badly. I would say Vice City is my favourite. I think Vice City has aged better. That's really subjective, but there you go. Gran Turismo 4, if you really want to go for like a hard, like 100% game, yeah, that's one of those ones. But then there's like certain games you like never thought would be phenomenal, but actually really are. Like sports games, for instance. There's certain sports titles, like certain NBA titles when I played as a boy, I enjoyed the hell out of. And to this day, I mean, the FIFA title's absolutely worthless, but each year I got fun out of them. If you understand what I mean. Replayability. That's the key to any game. Can you play it again like 2 or 3 years later and still enjoy it? If you understand what I mean. And there are a lot of games that I'm trying for the first time and enjoyed. Some games I haven't tried yet. I do generally go for one. Obviously, all the God of War games are phenomenal. The God of War 2 is fantastic. I think Killzone's aged badly, like graphics-wise. But I loved it when I was a child. Obviously, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series, phenomenal. The third one's the best one by far. Favourite games, once again, that's just a mixture of stuff. My favourites, obviously everyone's got different favourites on PS2. I'm still finding out certain games this day. The original Call of Duty franchise, the trilogy, were very good back in the day. They've aged like sour milk. They really have. But anyway, we're going to end it there because afterwards it's like the Xbox 360, just like most of it's like Call of Duty for me. I mean, the Force Unleashed was good on that console, but it's on every console. But that's just some childhood memories of some of my favourite games when I was growing up. I still own all the games in my top 3 for every console I have mentioned. Obviously, I own a lot more games now. Anyway, thank you for those who sat through this like 30-minute diatribe of favourite games. Thank you for listening. This has just been like a bit of a fun like popcorn episode. I have actually had a couple of people ask for more popcorn episodes. It depends how I feel. Honestly, sometimes I can sit here and speak for hours and make no sense, and sometimes there's like, let's actually try and achieve stuff. Depends what mood I'm in. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching to this. This is probably an episode you could probably just listen to, because I mean, it's just me sitting at a table this episode. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching / listening. I will see you guys next week. I don't know what's coming up, but we'll see what pops up. Anyway, thank you. I'll see you later. Bye.